What is up, my guys? Welcome back to the channel known as Azure. I'm your host Daniel, followed by my co-host.
Julian.
And today we're going to take it back a bit, back into the early '90s or the late '90s actually, with a little movie called Hercules, part of Disney's little Renaissance era. If I think right, it's part of the Renaissance.
It's the end of Renaissance. I'm pretty sure the first non-Renaissance film was Emperor's New Groove. So I think Hercules is part of that.
Okay, so yeah, it's kind of like in the middle, like towards the end of the Renaissance,
Yeah.
but towards the beginning of the New Age thing that they're going for, like that.
Yeah, because the Renaissance was from like Little Mermaid to I think Tarzan, around there.
No, I think it might have been a little bit before. I kind of want to say you're right on Little Mermaid, but I kind of want to pull it back to say The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Maybe that's coming in.
No, that's
No?
definitely not. Yeah,
No, maybe Atlantis then.
no, it's not. Atlantis is definitely not part of the Renaissance.
I meant towards the end. That's what I mean.
That's post-Renaissance.
I guess so. Either way,
Definitely.
we'll look it up either way.
I'm
All
looking it up right now. Yeah, 1999, and it was. I'm checking it right now. It was. I don't think it was Home on. Oh yeah, I think it was like Fantasia and Tarzan.
Okay.
It was definitely it was Tarzan.
Okay.
And if you
Okay.
want to count Fantasia, then that's part of it too.
I don't really count Fantasia. I haven't seen it. Okay. Either way, back to Hercules. So yeah, Hercules came out like I'm guessing since we did the whole time thing, early 2000s. I'm guessing.
What are you saying? Stop saying these
90s?
things. Yes.
It came out in the 90s. Okay, I said that in the beginning. I wasn't sure, and then
No,
you
you said
said
Renaissance. If I said the Renaissance end in 1999, it came out in 1997. If you really
okay.
want
There
to be
we go.
specific.
There we go. Because you made it seem like it wasn't part of the Renaissance era.
No,
That's why.
I said it was the end of the Renaissance. It was 1997.
Okay.
The only thing after that was Tarzan and like Fantasia and maybe one other thing.
Okay, there we go. Now we cleared it up. We both were confused on each other's phrases. You happy?
Yeah, because
There
I
we go.
explained it. It was the beginning's Little Mermaid and the end is
Tarzan.
Tarzan. Yeah, and the biggest successes for that was obviously Lion King, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. I
What'd
count
you
those
count?
as the big successes. Mulan was a pretty big one, but I
That's
can't.
true, yeah.
It's still not. It's not as big as those ones. Like
I mean, yeah.
Lion King and Aladdin. Like I mean, there's a reason why they remade them into live action first. Just because those were the biggest successes.
Oh, and they remade Mulan too in live action.
Well, they are. They still haven't released
So-
the damn thing.
Like I said. No, they're releasing on Disney Plus soon.
Oh, they
Yeah.
just gave up.
Yeah, but they're releasing it. Guess what? At a price. You have to
How
pay
much?
$30 to see it.
30.
Yeah, so you have to put. So this is all I'm getting so far. The information I'm getting so far. So you have to pay $12.99 a month for Disney Plus, and on top of that, you have to pay an extra $30 just to see Mulan.
Wait, so it's not like $18. It's 12 plus 30.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That's just terrible. But either way, okay. Back to Hercules. Damn, we went so far off topic right now.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
with this, you have to talk about the Disney Renaissance, and
Yeah,
part of that
I mean,
is that Hercules is very different from all the other Disney Renaissance films, and that shows the transition from Renaissance into their later films, such as like Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis. I don't like Home on the Range, but that counts. And
Really?
then the
You
final,
don't like? I honestly thought Home on the Range was pretty decent.
and
That's why.
the final film before they got into 3D was obviously Princess and the Frog.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So like Hercules was the shift from Renaissance into the 10 years until Princess of the Frog came out in 2009.
Well, that's because wasn't it more like magic based and all like Greek mythology and everything like that?
No, it's because it's a
Oh.
shift in how they do things and how they tell their stories, and also like the structure of how things are done. It's like there's a very clear if you watch like Emperor's New Groove or like
Mm-hmm.
Princess of the Frog, it's very different than you compare it to like Beauty and the Beast or like The Little Mermaid. And Hercules is like that shift.
Oh and yeah, one of the major differences is that there's no princess in this.
Yeah, or like the princess that you consider, which is Meg, is like very different and is not as
Yeah.
traditional as an example.
Because she has more like tomboyish, like tomboy-esque things. Because she takes care of herself in a sense.
Well, just
But-
like how in 2009 with Princess of the Frog, right? Like Princess,
Yeah,
what's her
Tiana.
name? Tiana. Yeah, she's a very like go-getter, self-made, like
Independent, like actual independent person.
yeah. Whereas
Like-
like even though Jasmine's a pretty good like female character, there is still the whole like
She's still a princess and still under guard from her dad.
Yeah, and then like she has more
like that kind of sense. Like she's still being overprotected and everything.
Yeah, she still has a free spirit, and like Aladdin saves her at the end. Whereas like in this one, it's like obviously we have to get into the end of Hercules, but it is a different kind of way of how things are done. Or especially if we count it as Ariel in Little Mermaid, where it's completely
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like she's basically completely sheltered off from everywhere, and she has to sneak around to places.
Well, more so that she's a very traditional female character who needs to be saved by the prince, and she only really her only focus is really love. Like she has the freedom of her legs.
I was getting to that. Yeah, like she wasn't very independent in a sense. I was getting to that.
Yeah, and that's an example which Jasmine was like a small step where she wanted to be more independent and like, but then like Meg is
big leap where she isn't. Meg is independent. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess you could have Mulan too, but yeah, Mulan's like so. I guess Mulan and then Hercules are the two like shifts, but then there's also a lot of other stuff like how they kind of mix the choir, the very like the African American choir, and then they also have like there's a lot of like humor by like contemporary comedians, and like they got like James Woods and stuff, and Danny DeVito.
Oh, Danny DeVito.
Like this one's a lot more comedic than the previous films. Also, as an example, where like the other ones are more serious. Like Beauty and the Beast is very serious. Mulan is very serious, and like
that's not to discredit this movie. It does have its serious moments. It's just that there are more comedic moments show out more than the actual dramatic moments.
Yeah, so there's like definitely like a shift with this one, and obviously you watched it recently, so.
Yeah, I watched it more recently than you have, but then again, I did watch it like a lot of times because I had it on DVD. So I was like, okay, let's watch this, and my sister was like, okay, let's watch this, and they both ended up being Hercules, and I was like, okay, sure, let's watch it. So I watched it like a whole bunch of times as a little kid.
I mean, that's most Disney movie for people, though.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, because after a while though, it kind of like lost some interest for me. Like that's why I kind of stayed away from it a little bit when I saw it on Disney Plus. And then you brought it up again, saying like, "How was your favorite movie?" Because I brought up Tarzan.
One of them for the Renaissance.
That's what I just said. Like, yeah, one of your favorite movies.
The biggest clarification is for Disney animated Emperor's New Groove, no matter what.
Yeah, that's what you told me many times.
That's the biggest clarification I'll ever have on this. Is I'll say Emperor's New Groove. When we talk about that, that'll be like at least 30 minutes of like the first half of the film, just talking about how every joke's perfect in that.
Yeah. But yeah, like since I wanted to bring up Tarzan, you're like, nah, I don't really like Tarzan. I'd rather watch Hercules. I'm like, really, Hercules? And the reason I was like this is because I watched it so many times that kind of lost its magic on me, like towards the beginning. But then like you brought it up again, so I was like, okay, might as well watch it. Yeah, it holds up. I remember it fondly, and it does hold up to how it is. Like the story structure, the jokes, all the whole pain and panic. They're my two favorite characters, basically.
Well,
so yeah.
It's honestly the biggest thing is just that it's probably the best, like the best either sports film or superhero film. It's one of the better ones of those of how they do things, and like the obviously the structure of that is like that. What I mean, where it's like it has such a good like highs and lows. A hero's journey. It has one of the better hero's journeys. I mean, it's Hercules. So
it's not even that. It like takes parts of the hero's journey because part of the hero's journey. It's the rejection of call of action, and this one he doesn't reject any call to action at all. He literally goes out and finds the action. So they're kind of like picking and choosing the parts from a hero's journey that make it fit.
Well, it's like the call to action for this is like, okay. I don't want to get into a full detail about hero's journey, but there is calls to actions and things like his low points obviously when he gets his axe kicked by Hades, and then he has to prove himself as a weakling, and then he has to save Meg at the end, right? And
no, that wasn't Hades. That was a Titan. It was a Cyclops Titan. That's what
but Hades is the one that like released.
Yeah, but I know, but it's just more clarification on the movie part itself. Like,
who hasn't watched Hercules? When we're talking about Disney, we don't have to clarify anything. That's
well, you know, regardless, we have to clear everything that we say.
That's not something I'm gonna be like, have you guys watched like freaking Toy Story? It's like, yeah, everyone watched Toy Story, man.
I mean, come on, like. I've met people who have never heard of the Renaissance era of Disney. I'm like, okay, what the fuck? So yeah, I have to somewhat be more clarified because I talk to a lot more people than you do because I'm out and about and everything like that.
You might talk to a lot more younger people than I do. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I'm talking to more people our own age demographic because most of the people that I've talked to that never heard of the Renaissance era are our age. or like a year or two younger or older than us, and they haven't heard of the Renaissance era of Disney, let alone seen some of the movies from there. Like, I've known people that have watched like Atlantis, but they've never seen Aladdin. I've met people like that.
So have you met someone who's only watched the live action version?
Yes.
Of these? Oh.
Yes, I have. See, that's why. That's why I want to be more clear right now.
That's probably the one thing I'll get into if we ever talk about like how that's one thing where I'm like kind of worried that they might do Hercules at some point that is a remake. Because like man, once you do the remake, nobody watches the originals, and that's kind of the only problem is that preservation of the original kind of gets muddied by the worse remake. And like it's fine if it's a different interpretation, but even when it is, people forget about the original. Like if a thing from another world gets forgotten when it's so different from the thing, like you can only imagine if they remake like Lion King and Aladdin, how much people won't care about the originals even if they're better.
Oh, I mean, like people didn't really like the Lion King remake either way. Like it made a bunch of money because
people it was, our age. You haven't talked to the people that are younger, right? That's the thing.
Oh, I mean that's the thing too. Like people I've talked to, they took their little cousins, they took their little siblings to go see it, and even they agree that they didn't really like it that much.
All right.
As opposed to when they showed them the animated version of the Lion King, like, I like this one a lot better.
All right, that is slightly anecdotal, but I will take that into consideration.
Yeah. See.
It is anecdotal though, because
I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you that. That it's anecdotal and everything like that.
But anyways, with Hercules, well, so you say Pain and the other guy is your favorite character?
Panic, mostly like that. Like in a Disney movie, I always go for like the comic relief and people like that. These two are pretty much basically slapstick comic relief, which is one of my favorite types of comic reliefs. Like literally everything they do is basically a gag. Like I'll give you one example. Like the moment Hercules becomes like a full-on hero, like after he defeats the Hydra, you see Pain and Panic like sporting Hercules merchandise, and Hades is about to go off, and it's Pain that's about to scream, and I literally keep that image frozen in my mind because I would have loved to imagine what Hades was gonna do, but then Panic ends up like chugging down like a Herculade, that's their version of Gatorade, and that just sets him off on a completely different tangent to both of them. That's why.
Damn. I'm surprised it's not Hades. Now Hades is the guy who steals the show, and basically
of course,
the reason why
I give it all to Hades. Yeah.
So much. And my favorite thing about Hades is that what James Woods is that he reprises his role in everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime they need Hades to show up, James Wood will and can be there, and he's in. Obviously, I mean, for me, the way I remember Hercules a lot is that he's in every single Kingdom Hearts game or like things like that, any game or cartoon, he'll always reprise his roles, and he has like the perfect inflection and gives it his all, and it's like you really feel that. And I remember correctly, they actually changed the character for the voice actor.
Yeah,
like that's how much James Woods' performance improved, because I think he was supposed to be more serious, but then because of how James Wood like performed, they were like, no, actually, your Hades is now you're not Hades.
Oh yeah, that's not really that uncommon for a person to dive so deep into the role that they actually change that the creators change a character to fit more to that actor.
It is for Disney.
It is for Disney. That's why for Disney it is rare, but in terms of other places it's not. But yeah, for Disney to actually remodel a character according to the actor rather than the reverse, that's pretty impressive actually.
Yeah, because if I remember right, it's like the way Disney does things in a lot of Western animation is reversed from how like East Asian countries do it, where it's like it's not the actors then the animation, it's the animation and then the actors.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly.
I think that's how it is. Yeah, because like most of the times the character's already fully fleshed out, and like the creators have an actor in mind, but they still do like multiple rehearsals with other people just to see how it is, to see if someone can get a better reaction or a better like performance out of it, and then they may do some minor tweaks to it, to the character itself rather than the actor. But for them to do a complete like overhaul role reversal or something like that, that's really rare for Disney.
And it's just because he steals the show. He is putting,
of course,
he hands it up, and like every spoken word he has is like on point. Like the way he acts with the Sisters of Fate, and Like he
Yeah.
smokes his cigar and then he gets so angry that the cigar burns completely.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's why I like.
Or especially his reactions whenever he gets scared or something. Like the best one is when Hercules comes out of
Mhm.
like
Oh, the well of souls and
the
everything.
well of souls, and he's like, no, 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 don't worry, don't punch me, and then like Hercules just punches him in the face.
Yeah.
Is the perfect like reaction to that.
Mhm.
The way he like talks.
Yeah, his whole mannerisms and everything. You make it feel like you're not watching someone be a character doing a voice. You're actually watching an actual character person who is actually real, like that.
It's
In a
probably the
sense.
one time I'd say like Danny DeVito gets completely trounced in a comedy role. It's
Oh yeah, and
like
that.
Hades is better than, even though I like Phil a lot,
Uh huh.
I still obviously I still prefer Hades.
Of course, like
And it's just one of those
I.
things where in most other roles Danny DeVito is like one of the best parts, but for me it's like nah, honestly it's Hercules, Meg, and Hades.
Yeah, because I feel like
Honestly.
that Disney wanted to pull back a bit on Danny DeVito's comedy and focus more on Phil being more of a serious person because like for the most part of the movie, because I just recently watched like last week, he doesn't really have that many comedy bits. Usually like yeah he explodes with anger in a comedic way, but other than that like he's either serious, sad, or just focused. That's it.
Well, he does have a lot of comedy, but it's like
It's more so like physical comedy
there-
to him, and it's
actually,
reactional comedy. That's what it is.
Actually, honestly, I don't think it's either of those. It's like the more subtle, like Greek lore stuff. So, like one example is when he talks about like his previous heroes, and he talks about like
Uh-huh.
the Achilles heel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it's stuff like that where it's like they use a lot of Greek lore for his like humor.
And that doesn't really that too, but a more so like physical comedy. What I'm going back to is like when he gets smacked by the tree that was a nymph. That was supposed to be a physical comedic moment, and it got a laugh out of me. And then when after Meg and Hercules date, he gets hit again by another tree, and then he goes, "Next time I drive," and faints. That's another a physical comedy bit, and like yeah, most of the stuff other than that is like explosion and everything, but more to the lore side. Yeah, there's a lot of lore jokes to fill,
Which I do
and
appreciate.
I think I do appreciate that they took time and effort to explore the lore and everything, but it doesn't really fit that much into Danny DeVito's comedic type. That's what I'm saying. Like that's how it is for me.
Also, his singing is not the best in this. And
Yeah.
DeVito's definitely not known to be a singer.
Yeah, that too.
Uh,
I feel like that they gave him a singing part to see if he actually make singing more of a comedic tone, but just didn't work out.
Yeah, and obviously, like the thing is that also the kind of more like dry humor that he has works a lot better with the cynicism that Megara has, because
Yeah.
her like very like I don't want to deal with this, like I'm done with this. I already had a bad relationship. It's just like she's does not want to deal with anything and just wants her freedom.
Yeah,
Like, that's good humor, and that's probably the second best one. And I just like Hercules as a character overall
Mhm.
in this. Especially
Yeah.
as like the naive sports star that like doesn't know what he's getting himself into. That kind of like
Like back
gets
when he was fighting the Hydra.
he gets like over after the Hydra.
Oh, okay. After like he gets overconfident and everything.
Yeah, like he has the action figures. He has all this stuff.
Is that what you're
and,
trying to
like,
get at?
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I have this thing, Phil," and it's like, "Dude, Hercules, like,
Yeah.
you have to do your training." And it's like, "No, but I got to like this interview," and it's like it's a very
Mhm.
that's a very real thing that happens with sports stars, especially where it's like once they get a bunch of money or fame, they don't know what to do with it, and they don't know how to deal with it because they're like Hercules. A lot of the big sports stars come from
Mhm.
nothing, so they're
Yeah.
not used to all that attention or money.
Of course. Well, I mean, like, take it back to when Phil was like, you had to do training. Like, the earlier scene though, he's giving out like all the stuff that Hercules has to do, like interviews, sports signings, and everything. But all Hercules doesn't want to do that. He legit just wants to relax for a bit. That's it. Like, cause he's posing and everything for like a vase painting, and he doesn't even want to do that. He doesn't. He just wants to chill. He just wants to chill with Meg, or just chill with Pegasus. But Phil's like, no, you gotta do this, this, this. He doesn't even touch on training. He's just like, you gotta build up your rep. That's all. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's true, and that does happen with a lot of coaches too, where they'll try to
Yeah.
where they tire out their players, but also the players get too like comfortable with their strength or like how
Mhm.
good they are sometimes, and they're like,
Yeah, because it shows
Break
the
down.
movie shows both sides. Like it shows Hercules wanting to just relax with that scene, but it also shows him getting too comfortable with his strength by like showing how he's overconfident when he's talking to Zeus again after he defeats all the monsters, and it shows, oh yeah, I'm an action figure now. I should be a hero.
Well, see, it also works too because like sports stars are the modern like Olympic like gods, kind of like they're the modern Greek myths, like the modern like peak
Like
of physical
gladiators
strength.
and everything like that. Everything. So we're trying to get at like, the
Yeah.
modern day gladiators and everything.
Well, that's why they have that. That's why they combine the two of the hero and and a sports movie is to have
Yeah.
that like showing that dichotomy of how both of them are very similar.
Dichotomy, don't you mean duality?
Either one. I'm pretty sure dichotomy is okay. If you really want to be specific, I'll look up the definition.
No, it's not that. It's just I never heard dichotomy in a while. That's why.
Dichotomy?
I usually no dichotomy. Yeah, my bad. See, I haven't heard it so long that I mispronounce it every now and then. So yeah.
Yeah, like there's a duality because then there is also dichotomy because because it shows the separation between what a hero and a because it shows the separation but also duality. Yeah, it's like that they're both like they're separate but they're together because that is what like the sports stars are, right? They are considered superheroes, but since they're real people, they don't have unlimited earnings. They don't have like
Yeah.
these things, right? They have human emotions, and so
Exactly.
yeah, there you go. What I was saying with dichotomy
Yeah.
is that they are separate, and shows how Hercules is worn down because he still has that human half to him because he doesn't become a full demigod until like because his demigod status after defeating the Hydra isn't a true one. It's just showing his strength because when he becomes a full demigod is when he proves himself to save Megara.
Actually, no. In this movie, he's not really a demigod because demigod is only half god. This movie literally depicts him being a full god, being a son. Why did I say daughter? Being a son of both Zeus and Hera, rather than Zeus and a normal human. He's really just a demigod throughout the whole movie until the ending, because he still has his godly strength, but has every weakness of a mortal. Yeah. That's why.
So it doesn't show his true strength until he saves Megara, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of
that's
also a good part about that scene is like the fact that Hades still able to spin that victory into his own like control by being like, oh well, you thought you won, but really, all this stuff after this is planned now.
Yeah. Honestly though, like if Hades just left well enough alone afterwards, like if he still thought that Hercules was dead and everything, his plan probably could have worked. Because if it wasn't for him unleashing that Titan onto Hercules, Meg wouldn't have gotten hurt, Hades would have ruled Olympus, and Hercules wouldn't be able to do anything. But since he set the Titan onto Thebes, that's what the city's called, then Meg ended up getting hurt, which broke the deal with him and Hades, and that's how he lost. In the sense that he became his own worst enemy because he wanted to make sure. Literally, he was focusing way too much on the details rather than the whole broad point of things.
Well,
that's what got.
It's a classic Greek tale. It's also how the Titans became locked up. Is that you know the tale, right, of the Greeks?
Yeah.
Of like how Zeus got kicked his father's ass because the father heard that the Zeus was gonna like beat him. So that's why. If it wasn't for like Zeus's dad trying to stop Zeus wouldn't have stopped him. Or there's also Oedipus, right? Oedipus is the famous one, right? Where it's like your son's gonna kill you. Okay, I'm gonna try to kill him.
Or even so, like
the son doesn't die, and then who does the son kill at the end? Because he doesn't know. Kills his father.
And even so, like more to like a more recent thing, like God of War, like Zeus was told that one of his sons with a scar would have killed him, and in return he sent Hades and Athena to go kill Kratos' brother because that's who he thought was the scar. But lo and behold, Kratos got a scar from fighting. Fuck.
Just basically, he got a scar and then he killed Zeus.
Zeus, yeah.
Which is Ares.
There we go, Ares.
Yeah,
Ares.
Which is ironic because that is how Zeus killed his father, and then his son killed Zeus.
Yeah.
So it's like a line of the sons killing the dads.
But in this case, it'd be more of an uncle because Hades is Zeus's brother.
That's right.
So yeah, it's the same but different at the same time.
Well, this one is basically we're just saying all these Greek tales that are someone is trying to prevent something that's gonna happen, in which by trying to prevent it, that's why it happens.
Yeah. Oh, like the old saying, one often meets his fate on the road to avoid it. or something like that.
But the thing is that Hades couldn't stop his fate, but Hercules does by becoming a god, since you can't cut the life of an immortal, which is why they couldn't cut the string at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and it shows that he still wants to keep his humanity because that's what gave him his strength. Because at the end, he decides to stay in Thebes.
Not even that; he just decides to stay with Meg.
Yeah,
that's it.
So he doesn't want. So he doesn't. I mean, where does Meg stay at?
Well, I mean, she's more of a nomad. That's why, because she wasn't really originated from Thebes.
But do they show any other location?
Yeah, they do.
Which one?
They show Hercules' hometown, Phil's house. They show the forest where we first see Meg.
But it's still all like Greece. It's like that's like what,
that's why.
A day.
I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying that she's not from Thebes. But I'm also saying that she isn't from Thebes.
Yeah,
or is from Thebes. That's why.
Like Hercules is not going to like Rome or something. He's not going to like.
It's all in the Greek Isles. Yeah, that's what we're just saying. So yeah.
That he wants to stay in the mortal realm and not be with the gods because he wants to stay with Meg and his. Mm-hmm. Also, still wants to meet his foster parents and talk to them.
Well, stay with his foster parents, not meet them.
Yeah, and still also like. Well, I meant meet with them, every once in a while.
Oh yeah, like go and visit them and everything like that.
Yeah, not like meet as in meet them for the first time, or also like chill with Phil.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe after this, I'll check out the whole TV show that got from this. But other than that,
the one where he's like a teenager.
Yeah, and oddly enough, Meg is in that show too, because it's all set in the past. Like, from what I remember, the pilot started off with Meg looking through some old stuff, and she's with Phil, and like apparently he's telling the stories about Hercules. I don't know how he knows the stories, but yeah.
I mean, Hercules could have just told him.
That too, or like through the whole training montage, he went to high school or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really need much with those shows.
Yeah. So yeah, if I want to, I'll probably just go look it up. If not, then I won't.
I mean, it should be on Disney Plus for you, right? Considering you own it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, either way, that's kind of all I got to say about Hercules.
Is that really good all you got to say about it?
Yeah, it's a really good movie. I didn't really have that much of a difference of opinion from when I saw it as a kid. Except, I remember this part, and this part, and yeah, it's better than how I remember.
About the training montage?
I mean, it's basically just a classic training montage.
But what about there's so many good comedy bits, like how like he messes up everything in the beginning and at the end, it shows that he's a lot faster and efficient at it.
Yeah, a common training montage.
Yeah, but like the way the humor, like the visual comedy, is like much more heightened in how like they executed that, with like also like his like his his posture and all that, and like what's it called, Phil's reaction. Also, how like he synergizes with Pegasus and like the thing's called Pegasus, right?
Yeah, it's a Pegasus.
Yeah. So like how he synergizes with it.
It's a Pegasus called Pegasus.
Yeah, how he synergizes with Pegasus better after the montage and like is better, like he's more skilled. Like, that's one of the best parts.
I've seen tons of montages like that. So
nah, but this movie is a cut above the rest when it comes to training montages.
Okay, I'll have to take your word for that because that's just how I saw it.
Like, do you not notice the animation or like?
Yeah, I know. I noticed the animation and everything. I noticed I've done a whole like deep dive in my own mind with this thing, like I do every movie that I see.
Yeah, because like that's one of the best parts, like really like the flow and like how it's done and the smoothness of it all. Like so, that's one of the things about like old Renaissance Disney is that like the way they did their animation was like really well done. Yeah,
I think it's just like I'm not really talking about most stuff because like before I watched the Hercules, I watched the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and that the detail in that animation just still baffled me a little bit.
Well, there's difference between detail and like the animation itself, because one's just like how it looks stationary, and the other one's like how the movement is. That's what I mean. Like it still kind of baffled me how they blended all that into it. That's what. Is Hunchback really that? I don't know. I guess I don't. I don't know. I'd have to see with Hunchback. Yeah. Because that one's a little like. It's hard. I'd have to do more analysis and looking at the animations to see which one has the best like stuff to it. But yeah, that training montage in Hercules, that's like really nice. Same with the Hydra fight. Like that's the weird part. You
Yeah.
talked about the Hydra fight, but you didn't talk about like how like the things move and how it's very like doing all of that individually could take up a lot of like time.
Oh, yeah, that's why. It's like it all goes back to like me seeing it over and over and over again as like a 5-year-old and something like that. I got so used to it, like it doesn't really like do it for me. Like this was a nice breather or nice refresher of me seeing it again like an adult and being able to take it all in. But the fact that I watched it so many times at that age, like the magic's still there. It's just a little weakened. That's it. That's why.
Is it, man? I mean, I could still watch Finding Nemo, and I watched it like 20 times when I was like when it was in theaters, and like
yeah. See, like
and
I've
like
seen
I can still appreciate the animation in that.
Okay, so here's the thing. I've seen every other Disney movie less than I've seen Hercules. Like I've probably seen Hercules more times than I've seen any other movie combined for Disney.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, it's the same thing with me and like. Well, Nemo was the one for me. That was one of them. But yeah, like that's one of them where I was like, actually, another one where I watched a bunch is like, with Space Jam. Like I watched that. I probably watched that till the VCR ran out. But like, I can still tell when there's some good animation in Space Jam. Like just because you watch something a lot, in fact, that makes you appreciate the details more because you're able to see it again and notice like the small things.
Yeah, and that happens whenever I watch like some other movies that I haven't watched in a while that I used to watch over and over again. Like it happened with Hercules too, a few times. It's just like
but you didn't talk too much about it.
Out. It didn't really stand that much out. That's what I'm trying to get at. That's why. Because
Really?
I appreciated it a lot back when I was first watching it that time. Because even at that age, I was like all into details about movies and everything.
I don't know. I mean, it is just a difference of opinion, but man, when I still watch Hercules now, it's like doesn't matter how many times I watch it, it's still really nice looking.
Yeah, and I get that. Yeah, I understand why people have that type of feeling when they watch a movie that they have. I have that type of feeling when I watch some movies that I watch.
Like I could watch Spirited Away. This is a Ghibli film, but like I could watch Spirited Away probably 10,000 times, and I could never, ever like have no appreciation for it. Like I'll always appreciate that film's like everything about that thing. Like no matter what, no matter how many times I watch it, it would never lose that magic. Because when something's good, it's just good no matter what.
Yeah, that's why I understand that. Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I really wanted to say is that I'll probably go into more details about like I don't have enough research about the specific animation stuff because I haven't watched it in a while. But,
maybe when we do another Renaissance movie, we could come back to this one.
Well, yeah,
and do a deeper dive into it.
Yeah, I guess if we make it, I guess if you want, considering half plus, if you want to do a Renaissance series,
yeah,
that's up to you.
Or like how you said, if we were decided to watch Emperor's New Groove, then yeah.
Oh well, that one isn't really about the animation. That one's actually just about the humor.
No, that too.
You picked up one film where I mean, the animation's still good and all, but like that's never like the focus except for the Kronk and Yzma sections, which I could talk about when we get to that.
Yeah.
But that would be like 30 minutes.
That's do it for this episode. You guys know what to do, comments, everything, and all that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, all the comments and everything like that. You guys know what to do. Any of this stuff, you already know what to do. And we'll see you guys in the next video.
See ya.
Bye.